KTAV.TV. It is Shane Harris time. Right here on KTAV.TV. Tell somebody to tune in. Tell somebody to call in. Tell somebody to check in. Right here on Get On Up, where we challenge you to get up instead of giving up. You are live with the man of the hour, Reverend Shane Harris, here on KTAV. And we're wishing you here from KTAV a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you had a great time yesterday. And today is what we call Black Friday. So I encourage all of you out there to buy black on Black Friday and go support black businesses today. Of course, black businesses with excellence, but go support the few or some that have excellence. You should go support them today. And I personally want to thank you for checking in even on this Friday. I know you're busy with your family and your friends eating all that good food. Bill Brown is coming in today, and you know he done had a lot of good food yesterday. You know, because I saw the plates on Facebook. I ain't gotta lie. I saw, actually, no, he didn't post any pictures this year. But last year, y'all should have seen the pictures. They was all over the place. Macaroni and cheese, ham, all of it was all a platter of stuff. So all y'all out there posting pictures, I want y'all to repent today, because y'all know y'all wrong for that. Now, I had some good food, but I only had it on Instagram story. Y'all didn't get shit. I didn't post it on my social media. I just put it on my story. Y'all was so bad, y'all put it on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, posting pictures. Look what I'm eating, and I've got ham hocks, and I've got all of this stuff, chitlins and ham and turkey and mashed potatoes and green beans, all that. So y'all out there that are posting, thank you for your post, but no thank you. I want to begin today by saying that on Thanksgiving today, we are thankful for a lot of things. But I want to challenge you today in my morning thought as we begin our show, and we'll begin taking call-ins, that you should think about the things that you are appreciative of. And you should think about how to be appreciative for things that are not what everybody's thinking about or thoughtful of. You cannot talk about big stuff and not be thankful for the small things. And today I am thankful for all of the small things and things that seem like they're meaningless, because there are those things in our life that seem meaningless but are very big and important. And I challenge you today in our morning thought as I begin, and we'll begin taking call-ins, that you think about the things that seem meaningless but actually mean more than the things that seem so big. So in that thought, today, yesterday, every day we should acknowledge the things that mean the most but are the smallest things that don't get a lot of attention and focus. But these are the reality of the things that we should be appreciative of. The very fact that you woke up this morning with a breath in your body, you should be appreciative. Somebody around this world did not wake up with a breath in their body. There are just things that you cannot challenge on, that are just unchallengeable, that we've got to be thankful for. So today, as we begin taking call-ins, I'm going to my good friend who I'm really thankful for. Me and him clash, we argue, we butt heads, but it's all good, because me and him gonna fight, though, because I didn't get a text message yesterday, and I didn't text him, but it's all right. My good friend in San Diego, James, good morning, bro.
Good morning, Reverend. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I told everybody I'm getting ready to fight you because I didn't get
I heard that.
I didn't get a text message yesterday, but I didn't text either. So we're both at fault.
We're both at fault. But it's all love. We know it's all love. I see you on the gram. I was watching. Don't worry.
My little niece, Lana, had to say hello to everybody. She got more likes than I get on any pictures. Everybody loves Lana and Nija, my other niece. Adorable. That's the way it works.
That's awesome. That's what's up.
So, what are you thankful for today?
I was thinking about this yesterday a lot. I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Chicago and Wisconsin, so I'm not around my loved ones this time of year. So I'm just super thankful that I have friends, in this community that have been so welcoming, to somebody to invite me into their household, and provide, food, and just the warmth of, friendship on Thanksgiving. It meant a lot to me because, not being around your loved ones around the holidays is some of the toughest parts about being away from them. So it was fantastic yesterday.
And that you bring up a good point that I think we should all think about. Somebody invited you to their family's house, and I think that we should all reach out to people that are in other cities that have family, but that didn't get to spend their Thanksgiving with their family. That we should all reach out to folks like that and invite them over, and you bring up a good point because sometimes people think of it just as family time. And if you have family, you it's your time off, it's your time away, that kind of thing.
Right.
But in reality, it's still time on because we should be reaching out to people who don't have places to go and invite them over. And I that has slipped me for the last. I used to do that, but I haven't done it in a while. And I think that part of the reason is that, James, I lost both of my parents when I was young, and I have since I was younger not had a real stability in my holidays. So the family that I do have now, my dad, Dr. Vines, and Mrs. Vines, and also my other dad in New York, Reverend Al Sharpton, and my family there, that I am learning to receive and welcome family into my life and be able to understand how to spend time with them. So that's a good point you raised, and inviting other people. Very important.
For sure. Most definitely. Yeah, it definitely, it's dear to my heart. So I much appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you, man, and I'll have to reach out to you, see what you're doing this weekend so we can hang out. My good friend. All right. Y'all, this is my good friend. I love my brother, James, and I told him that me and you clash heads every now and then, but it's only love.
Every now and then.
Yeah.
It's nothing but love.
Yeah.
Nothing but love, for sure. That's how families do, right?
That's
families don't always get along. It's not always peachy, but hey, man, we are brothers for sure.
That's right. Well, James from San Diego. We're going to our next call-in. This is Brother Markium from Temecula.
What's going on, man?
Hey, good morning, brother. Good morning, my man, boy. We're gonna go on a quick break. When we get back, we talking to Markham from Temecula, from Riverside. We'll go on a quick break.
Yes,
we'll be right back. Stay right there. Get on up.
You are listening to the San Diego station of inspiration. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. KTAV Radio. For more information on how you can advertise your business, event, or services, please visit us online at ktav.tv or call 619-246-6131. We are also offering 30 and 60-minute time slots for your ministry or podcast. For more information on how you can become a part of KTAV Station of Inspiration lineup, please call 619-246-6131 or visit us online at ktav.tv/ministry.
Hey, everybody, this is Reverend Shane Harris. Every Friday, I hold a live radio show at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.ktav.tv. The show is called Get On Up with Reverend Shane Harris, and we discuss all of the country's issues, from Washington, D.C. to your local community, social dialogue, political impact, and strategy talk. For all of our communities to realize that we don't have to get down, we got to get up and know what we're doing. So it's strategy time every Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Get On Up with Reverend Shane Harris on KTAV.tv. Hey, everybody, this is Reverend Shane Harris. Every Friday, I hold a live radio show at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.ktav.tv. The show is called Get On Up with Reverend Shane Harris, and we discuss all of the country's issues, from Washington, D.C. to your local community, social dialogue, political impact, and strategy talk. For all of our communities to realize that we don't have to get down, we got to get up and know what we're doing. So it's strategy time every Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Get On Up with Reverend Shane Harris on KTAV.tv.
You are listening to the San Diego Station of Inspiration, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, KTAV Radio. For more information on how you can advertise your business, event, or services, please visit us online at ktav.tv or call 619-246-6131. We are also offering 30 and 60-minute time slots for your ministry or podcast. For more information on how you can become a part of KTAV Station of Inspiration lineup, please call 619-246-6131 or visit us online at ktav.tv/ministry.
And hello. We are back here live on Get On Up with Reverend Shane Harris. Tell somebody to tune in, www.ktav.tv, 89.1 FM, and also live on the KTAV.tv website as well. We want you to go check it out. We're testing some things, and we're trying out some new things as we expand the radio show platform. And, of course, I reminded you at the beginning of our show today, as we've been taking call-ins from around the country, that you have got to realize that being thankful is not for the external stuff only. It is for internal things. Today, I'm thankful that I have hope in a dark world. Today, I'm thankful that bitterness is gone from my heart. Love is replaced. All those things are just as important as your cars and your houses and your money. Remember to be thankful for the things that seem matterless. Right now, we're welcoming my good brother from Riverside, California. Boy, the man, Mark Cam. Good morning, bro.
Man, good afternoon. Good morning, Doc. How you doing today, man?
Man, it's not afternoon yet, Doc.
Morning. Good morning, Doc. Good morning, man. Yeah, man. It's an honor, man. Privilege, man, to be on your show, man. What an awesome, man, opportunity, man. I like the topic, man. It's a couple of things I'm thankful for, man. The fact that I have a spirit that's in my heart that represents life, and that's Christ. What an awesome opportunity to know that Jesus is inside of my heart, to know that he chose me, but I didn't choose him. What an awesome opportunity, man. What a blessing to know that I have been accepted and I have been redeemed. I have been chosen by this Christ, this Jesus who died 2,000 years ago to give us life and have it more abundantly, an opportunity to be grateful for Jesus. Awesome. It's a blessing.
That is a blessing.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people don't realize that Jesus, who gives hope in very dark times, a lot of people don't realize on Thanksgiving, I think sometimes we forget, or during the holidays, we forget to give honor to the God who gave us just breath of life. I was telling them this morning,
yes, sir,
that to be alive, to just be alive is big enough. And he's the man. Right. He's the one who gives us that breath of life. So that is very important. Did you have a lot of food yesterday?
Doc, we had some good old chicken and dressing, green beans, a little bit of everything.
Hold on now, awesome, Doc. Man. Watch yourself, Doc. Watch yourself. You can't be unloading like that on the show. Doc said,
some good old
Doc said we had collard greens and mashed potato. Now, who cooked? You cooked?
Oh, man, actually, I watched. My mother-in-law cooked and my wife cooked.
Oh, he said, I watched.
I watched, Doc.
Doc said he watched.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They jam, man. They put their foot in it, Doc. It was awesome. I felt like I was in Louisiana, Doc. I felt like I was back home in Oklahoma, Doc. I thought I was in Oklahoma again, man. I had a flashback. I had to remind myself I'm in Cali.
Yeah, you're in Cali.
Yeah.
So
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So how many kids do you have?
Man, a total, man. I have 5, Doc. I have 5, but I got a 4-year-old, and I got a 10-month-year-old, and I got a 15-year-old, Doc. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, thank you, my man, Brother Jess Markham from Riverside, California, calling in and sharing your thoughts with us today on what you're thankful for. Brother Jess says that he is thankful today for the salvation that Jesus has given us. Today, you ought to think about your spirit. Where is your spirit going? Where is your spirit at? And where will your spirit rest when you leave this earth?
Sir.
Salvation is key. Thank you, Brother Jess Markham from
God bless you, man.
From Riverside, California, who I just preached for just a couple of days, a week ago. And we're going to be doing some great work in Riverside.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to our next call in, 619-431-3186, 619-431-3186. I'm going on a quick break. We'll be back in just a moment, right here on Get On Up. Hey, everybody, this is Reverend Shane Harris. Every Friday, I hold a live radio show at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.ktav.tv. The show is called Get On Up with Reverend Shane Harris, and we discuss all of the country's issues, from Washington, D.C. to your local community, social dialogue, political impact, and strategy talk. For all of our communities to realize that we don't have to get down. We got to get up and know what we're doing. So it's strategy time every Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Get On Up with Reverend Shane Harris on KTAV.tv.
You are listening to the San Diego station of inspiration. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. KTAV Radio. For more information on how you can advertise your business, event, or services, please visit us online at KTAV.tv or call 619-246-6131. We are also offering 30 and 60-minute time slots for your ministry or podcast. For more information on how you can become a part of KTAV's Station of Inspiration lineup, please call 619-246-6131 or visit us online at ktav.tv/ministry.
Hey everybody, this is Reverend Shane Harris. We are live every Friday. Get on up with Reverend Shane Harris, live every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on KTAV.tv. Tune in for more information from the highest levels of the country to the lowest levels of our community and how we deal with that and how we fight for what we believe in. Strategy talk, strategy session, and political commentary out of this world. Conversation on the important issues and social dialogue. Get on up with Reverend Shane Harris live every Friday at 9 a.m. PST on www.ktav.tv. Tune in with me and get on up with Reverend Shane Harris.
You are listening to the San Diego station of inspiration. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. KTAV Radio. For more information on how you can advertise your business, event, or services, please visit us online at ktav.tv or call 619-246-6131. We are also offering 30 and 60-minute time slots for your ministry or podcast. For more information on how you can become a part of KTAV's Station of Inspiration lineup, please call 619-246-6131 or visit us online at ktav.tv/ministry.
Hey everybody, this is Reverend Shane Harris. We are live every Friday. Get on up with Reverend Shane Harris live every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on KTAV.tv. Tune in for more information from the highest levels of the country to the lowest levels of our community and how we deal with that and how we fight for what we believe in. Strategy talk, strategy session, and political commentary out of this world. Conversation on the important issues and social dialogue. Get on up with Reverend Shane Harris live every Friday at 9 a.m. PST on www.ktav.tv. Tune in with me and get on up with Reverend Shane Harris.
You are listening to the San Diego station of inspiration. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. KTAV Radio. For more information on how you can advertise your business, event, or services, please visit us online at ktav.tv or call 619-246-6131. We are also offering 30 and 60-minute time slots for your ministry or podcast. For more information on how you can become a part of KTAV's Station of Inspiration lineup, please call 619-246-6131 or visit us online at ktav.tv/ministry.
Hey everybody, this is Reverend Shane Harris. We are live every Friday. Get on up with Reverend Shane Harris, live every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on KTAV.tv. Tune in for more information from the highest levels of the country to the lowest levels of our community and how we deal with that and how we fight for what we believe in. Strategy talk, strategy session, and political commentary out of this world. Conversation on the important issues and social dialogue. Get on up with Reverend Shane Harris live every Friday at 9 a.m. PST on www.ktav.tv. Tune in with me and get on up with Reverend Shane Harris.
Hello, good morning to you around the country. We've had call-ins for the first 30 minutes, and we thank all of those around the country who called and shared their thoughts on today of the Thanksgiving spirit and what they're thankful for. And I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my spiritual path. I'm thankful for the food I ate yesterday. I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful for that. But another thing that, in people's thoughts today as they shared the first 30 minutes, and now we're going into our politics panel. And of course, we have to break out the platter because there's a lot to look at and talk about on this Thanksgiving holiday. But I want to begin in our politics panel by saying that we cannot be about dealing with politics. Let me say this. Today, yesterday, and today, and all weekend, because you're going to be hanging out with your family, I hope that you are thinking about leaving the politics conversation out for just these couple of days. Because the reality is that we all can disagree with different things. We all can have different perspectives and different thoughts about various things. But what we can't do is make our time together political in nature and forget about the real ultimate thing, which is to enjoy each other's presence. And with all that's going on, it should not be about Trump or this or that at the table this year. Tonight I have another dinner I'm going to. See, Amos, I got 2 dinners in a row. I got one yesterday. I got another one tonight. God is good. But I have intended to not bring politics to the table. Now, me out of all people. Now, yesterday I was with my dad, Dr. Vines. I have 2 dads. Y'all know I had Dr. Vines and then Reverend Al in New York. And one of the things is that when I was at dinner yesterday with my dad, Dr. Vines, and we were hanging out and talking, conversation went a little bit political, and I got quiet because I said, I am not getting in this. I am not jumping in this. My dad is a conservative, but he's got principles, but he's conservative. And y'all know that I'm more liberal. But I was not going to let the perspectives in the room interrupt our time together. We should not be so in-depth in the country that we forget that family is family. Nothing should divide it, especially President Trump or politics or this or that. So today as we begin our politics panel, I just want to say, enjoy your time with your people. Enjoy your time. Leave all the stuff out the door these 3 days. And enjoy the time that God has blessed you with and the people that God has blessed you with so that you could truly know that you are thankful for them. So today as we begin our politics panel, I want to begin by saying that I'm thankful for my uncle. Y'all know that in the last 2 years, I've had a newfound uncle in Washington, D.C., but he travels. He's bigger than me, and he's a bad boy. So he travels from D.C. to North Carolina to Virginia. You know, he's the big man. He's the law graduate. He's the professor. He's the attorney. He's a deacon. I mean, you know, my uncle's a bad man, you know, so I get to brag on him. And then y'all know that this year for Thanksgiving, for my birthday, I ain't gonna tell y'all how much, but he sent me a nice gift card to Nordstrom's. And you know, I've had my shoes. I have been able to keep my shoes intact because of my uncle, you know, so my feet ain't looking weird and off. So y'all know him as the professor, the attorney, all this and that, but I know him as my uncle. I'm thankful for Uncle Attorney Amos Jones, who's joining me this morning on this after post-Thanksgiving morning on this Black Friday. Good morning, Amos.
Good morning, and thank you for the high compliment, echoing around the country, as it were, on this show on Thanksgiving weekend from Washington, D.C. You are a force in your own right, and you have a knack for seeing and sensing the right thing to do and acting up on it accordingly. So for you to count me among an influencer of yours is a high compliment. And thank you, because the work you are doing from coast to coast now is indispensable. Happy Thanksgiving. I am thankful for you and your witness.
Well, you know, I'm thankful for you. You've been a real leader. And, you know, a lot of people don't cease not to acknowledge, but Reverend William Jones, am I correct, was your uncle?
Another uncle. People always raise. It's so funny. You go around and people know you're from Kentucky and hear the name Jones, and people will immediately bring up the late William Augustus Jones Jr., who was one of the great preachers of the world, a great pastor,
right,
an extremely effective activist, and, of course, a mentor to Reverend Al Sharpton. And Uncle Bill was, in fact, a great man.
We'll just say they're both uncles, Reverend Bill Jones and Reverend William Jones, because those are the Joneses. Your uncle, the great Reverend Bill Jones in New York, pastor of the major church in Brooklyn, and so on and so forth. So you come from a lineage of civil rights leadership, but you are one of those to really put a stakehold in the movement behind the scenes. You know, there's frontline people, and then there's people behind the scenes that anchor the movement, and you are one of those. Tell us a little bit, Amos, about your upbringing today and why you're so thankful. We've never had a chance to dialogue about your upbringing and why you're thankful today. Why you're thankful. We should be thankful every day, but particularly today, why you are so thankful.
Well, thankfulness is a seedbed of Christian practice. Gratefulness, thanksgiving, these are disciplines that animate our allegiance to our God. And one of the things I'm most thankful for is having been, it's a gift of God to have been, frankly, born into a family of ministers, of serious ministers and lay people who understood the gospel mandate. And the gospel mandate includes personal morality and piety, but it also includes what we have now termed social justice. So going all the way back to the late 1800s and the 1880s organization of the Rogers Memorial Baptist Church of Knoxville, Tennessee, in my paternal, great-great-great-grandfather's living room, all the way to the Green Street Baptist Church in Louisville, which is where the first Black Baptist National Convention was ever held in 1875, and to the Pleasant Green Baptist Church in Lexington, Kentucky, organized in 1790 and pastored for 28 years by my father's father. And then the uncles, of course, Wheat Street Baptist Church in Atlanta, where Uncle Michael Harris, was pastor for 26 years until a couple of years ago when he retired. Emmanuel Baptist Church in Brooklyn, before that, and then Uncle Bill at Bethany in New York, Uncle Henry at Mount Zion in outside Cincinnati, where he followed Otis Moss Jr. By one or two ministers, and he served there for 15 years. It's a long tradition, and my father's a pastor. He's pastored 4 churches, including one black Southern Baptist church in Kentucky, and also a historic church in the town of Owensboro, organized in 1830, the 4th Street Baptist Church, and now in Kentucky at the church called the Great Crossing Church. And we've always applied our faith to the public sphere. That is, if you are beat down and oppressed because of the evil, diabolical sin of racism, somebody has to call the system to account for that. And who better than a well-educated, relatively insulated, true leader of a church of black people? And that's all I know. All I know is that that the Bible says, Reverend Harris, to whom much is given, much is required. That's right. And when your inheritance is intellectual freedom and spiritual truth, how can you not stand forth and stand firm and call it out? That's right. Or shut it down? That's right. And that's what we do. And we don't care who it is. Sometimes you have to throw down in your own congregation and get this thing right. Because if your home ain't in order, what's the Bible say? If a man's house is not in order, neither will his ministry be in order. So you started out at home, and when your house is in order in the local church, then you can go outside the church and transform the community and the world like Dr. Martin Luther King did. That's right. And that's what we're trying to do. That's the tradition of Dr. King's movement and the Progressive National Baptist Convention, into which Reverend Al Sharpton was baptized through his membership in the Bethany Baptist Church in Brooklyn, New York. And that is our heritage. We were there from the beginning in 1961, and it was easy. That wasn't a hard decision to make for us. And I'm just thankful to God that I spent yesterday with some of my father's cousins, some second cousins, first cousins, once and twice removed, military family. He was in Special Forces. The second cousin and his wife was Judge Advocate General. They're retired. And we were at Fort Belvoir's Officers Club, 50 of us, and we were celebrating the blessings of God, a family life of service. See, because we're loyal. People want to act like black people are just out here causing trouble. Black Americans, we have been in the military. Uncle Bill was in the military. He would have been a general if he had decided to remain in the military rather than going to the seminary and finishing honorably and leaving the military as he did. And we forget that, but he would have been a general. Right. And I didn't know Uncle Bill that well, but every time I was around him, he was very encouraging. I don't bring him up to people. People bring him up to me. And I'm honored because this is a great, great New York City and national figure. When one last story, Reverend Harris, when I went to Australia on a Fulbright fellowship from 2006 to 2007, I had known that he had preached and done justice work for Aboriginals and others and Baptists in Australia. He had preached at the church that I attended there, the Collins Street Baptist Church. And I had assumed that it had been 4 or 5 years earlier, in the late 1990s, early 2000s, the way they talked about him. And then time went on, and I realized he had been there 30 years earlier. And they were still talking about him and his influence and his preaching and just everything about him. It was as if he had been there just a few years earlier. And, that is my hope and prayer for our people, that we can deploy our moral authority, our intellectual gifts, and our spiritual creativity to heal the world. Because if we don't do it, who will?
Well, I'm telling you, you are preaching a sermon today. And you telling the truth today. And I like how you really brought up the moral movement that Dr. King and us are trying to continue. That moral movement that was very important must be continued and must be brought up on a regular basis. So in doing that, we're going to keep this conversation going. Lots to be thankful for today, and our brother Amos has shared a good chunk of information from his history, rooting why he's so thankful. I'm also thankful for our history today as a people. We've been very blessed. We've been very blessed as a people. And I encourage you today to talk about the good things and not just about the negative stuff that is out there. So stay right there. We're going to come right back. We're continuing lots to discuss with the Trump administration, and we're going to come back and deal with that on this Thanksgiving holiday. But keep the conversation going right here on Get On Up with Reverend Shane Harris. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Hey, everybody, this is Reverend Shane Harris. We are live every Friday. Get On Up with Reverend Shane Harris, live every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on KTAV.TV. Tune in for more information from the highest levels of the country to the lowest levels of our community and how we deal with that and how we fight for what we believe in. Strategy talk, strategy session, and political commentary out of this world. Conversation on the important issues and social dialogue. Get On Up with Reverend Shane Harris, live every Friday at 9 a.m. PST on www.ktv.tv. Tune in with me and Get On Up with Reverend Shane Harris.
You are listening to the San Diego station of inspiration. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. KTAV Radio. For more information on how you can advertise your business, event, or services, please visit us online at ktav.tv or call 619-246-6131. We are also offering 30 and 60-minute time slots for your ministry or podcast. For more information on how you can become a part of KTAV Station of Inspiration lineup, please call 619-246-6131 or visit us online at ktav.tv/ministry.
All right, we are back here live on Get On Up with Reverend Shane Harris. We are live on YouTube as well now, and we will be live every Friday on YouTube. I encourage you to spread the word. This is going to be a much easier way for you to connect with us online, and this is the new way of YouTube, and the podcasting is the new way to do this. And you know, I really want us to understand that we cannot afford to come in and really not put strategy behind our plan and strategy into the air. We've got to be strategic and we got to mobilize. So I'm very happy. Bill Brown, our executive producer here at KTAV, has figured out how we can go live on YouTube. So for those of you out there, we are now going to be live every Friday, which is going to expand our platform incredibly to audiences around the country, because this is going to be a very good strategic way of communicating with people around the world. YouTube is an easy way to do that, and an avenue where we can really focus our efforts on podcasting as well, which is going to raise our visibility. So thank you, Bill Brown and the KTAV team, for making this happen. And I'm very excited about it. Next Friday, we're live on YouTube. You can spread the word. It's going to be very big. We're going to push this heavy, much easier way to communicate. But in our constant communication, we are live right now with attorney Amos Jones from Washington, D.C., and attorney, let me begin here because there's lots to discuss this past week. Lots going on in the Trump administration, and there's something new every day in dealing with it. Let me begin with this Mueller investigation, because obviously lots going on with this investigation. In part, that's got to be discussed and looked at and viewed. We've got to deal with this investigation. Tell me a little bit about, because I'm hearing that Flynn, what's going on with the investigation with Flynn. Update us a little bit about what's going on, and you're in D.C., so you're on the ground to see this stuff in first point. What is going on with this investigation? Is Trump getting weary of Mueller? We're also hearing that Trump is saying that he's not even concerned about the investigation anymore. What are you hearing on the ground?
Well, I am hearing that what has been widely reported seems to be reliable, and that is that Michael Flynn's attorneys sent word to the president's team that they can no longer really cooperate or communicate with them. And that is a turn that appears to suggest that perhaps the interests are no longer aligned. Now, why would the interests no longer align or be about to no longer align? Well, maybe Michael Flynn is cooperating. Maybe he's cooperating in exchange for a plea deal, the way the gentleman who pleaded guilty is thought to be cooperating. And so this pulling the plug on the relations between the Flynn team and the Trump team legally is thought to be a bad sign for the president. Now, notice I said the president's team, Donald Trump's team and Michael Flynn's team. Donald Trump has a set of personal attorneys involved in some of this. And then there's the White House counsel and the issues there. So in legal ethics, one must be very careful to make sure that conflicts of interests are properly moderated. And I say properly moderated and not eliminated because certain conflicts of interest are inevitable. Right. The attorney-client relationship itself has conflicts of interest in it that are inherent, and we have ethics rules to work through those. Right. And some of these are gray areas. So it's believed that things may be closing in on the president's inner circle, perhaps Jared Kushner, et cetera, who should have his own counsel, who may be apart from President Trump's counsel. They may have competing interests in the final analysis. I'll say this. There's a legal defense fund that Michael Flynn's folk have set up, and you don't have to have transparency with that because he's a private citizen, but he had been a general for years, and unlike Paul Manafort, did not make tens of millions of dollars that he could use to pay attorneys. On television this morning on MSNBC, it was reported that one document request of a White House staffer could cost $30,000 in legal fees, right? Because one must make sure that they are not obstructing justice or saying the wrong thing or too much of something or too little. Or, the implications of statements that are made in investigations can have far-reaching consequences down the road, and one would be advised to seek counsel to filter and or to demand more responsiveness from the client to turn over to the government agents, investigators, et cetera. So it becomes a very expensive mess. My fear is the Clintons went through this. The Bush had an investigation too, and Scooter Libby went to jail, and White House counsel then, and now Trump. I fear that you're going to really have to be very, very rich to be able to afford serving in public life. Yeah. Because the legal fee, these lawyers get their fees in Washington. Yep. Nobody's doing this pro bono. Yep. Or they may be doing it pro bono. You can get pro bono and be paid. People don't realize pro bono doesn't always mean free. It can mean a reduced rate. But these lawyers are going to get paid those fees, even if somebody has to be bankrupted over it. So it's really, really, really tough. And, I'm not saying that we should be sympathetic. Some of them got themselves into bad situations and were greedy and dishonest. That's known. But the fact of the matter is it's a really sticky, thorny mess. Right. And it's very stressful.
Now, speaking of a sticky, thorny mess, we can both agree that this past week has been a sticky, thorny mess as we've watched what's going on with these allegations that are coming forth on various people. It really all started with Roy Moore. From Roy Moore, then went to Senator Al Franken. From Senator Al Franken, then went to Conyers now. Others are being allegations are coming out against Russell Simmons, against it's ongoing with these women that are coming out from 20 years ago and 30 years ago and 10 years ago. Are you at all concerned, attorney, about the truth in some of these allegations? Obviously, Roy Moore. Let's start there. Roy Moore is a big conversation in Alabama. He's running there. And what are your thoughts about the potential the possibility per se that now the Democrat there has a stick in his game to try to win this race or this election. There's a big outcry, folks saying that Trump is siding with Roy Moore and he's supporting these, supporting him in spite of these allegations. What are your thoughts about the race going on in Alabama? And then I want to talk to you about these allegations coming out against
Yes. First, the race in Alabama and President Trump's statement that to the media going on to the Marine One or Air Force One, he stopped and fielded questions mostly from Kristen Welker of MSNBC. And he said that, Roy Moore has denied these allegations. And what the Republicans cannot afford is to have a Democrat filling that Senate seat. So that was viewed as a kind of endorsement of Roy Moore without being direct. Right. And Roy Moore seized on that and said, the president's behind me, you all Alabama vote. But he hadn't made a public appearance in, I believe, over a week. Right. These appearances he's making have been to restricted audiences. So that goes to the allegations. These women are coming forward one after the other, and we know there's a pattern. It's interesting when we hear the stories about Charlie Rose and all the men, because what you find is that if you think about the way people approach women and the way women certainly deal with men, we all have a modus operandi, if you will. Right. Everybody has a particular technique. Right. It's part of your personal style. We don't ever talk about it, but if you think about it, everybody has a romantic technique that operates in patterns. And the consistency of the stories is just like, frankly, with Anita Hill's allegations and the women who came and said the same things that allegedly Clarence Thomas did. We have a pattern that is hard to replicate. It's kind of like the four Gospels. Well, I tell you, I'm a Bible-believing Christian because they all couldn't have had the same hallucinations when Jesus came back. Like four people don't have the same hallucination. That was not this happened. And we have these accounts that are corroborated one after the other at the same time. So I tend to believe that there must be some credibility here. But I also think with Roy Moore, Reverend Harris, it's a little bit complicated because I think that Roy Moore is a convicted Christian person who knows that he was a dirtbag. And I think he might have been around that 14-year-old girl at the time. That's the most serious allegation. Being 30 and being with the 17-year-old is certainly scandalous. That was not illegal if that were true. Now, if he were using his power to get to them, as one woman says, she was called out of her class by his friend, the high school principal, and asked on a date at school. This is a real pervert if he were kicked out of the mall, like they said he was, for trying to hit on these girls in these boutiques. Right. So we got a problem here. But at the same time, as a theologian or for a person concerned with theology, you might want to stop and consider the interesting contradictions here. And that is that on one hand, this man has gone around proclaiming the Ten Commandments, claiming he's been removed from office twice for standing for Christ. Right. I tend to believe that he would have a guilty conscience if he were 35 with an 18-year-old, knowing that that's improper as a serious conservative Christian. So he may be acting guilty and may not actually be guilty, but he knows he was a dirtbag going around praying on the, because also, there's no allegation of rape or anything like that yet. Not that it needs to come to that. But it's funny that they all said, well, when I told him stop, I'm not interested, he left. And so it's a funny thing about our puritanical impulses that I actually support, because I'm a conservative puritanical person when it comes to personal morality and believe that that's the best way. I'm all for yes, I am. Right. And the fact is, Roy Moore claims to be, and as Reverend Dr. Albert Mohler of Southern Baptist Seminary would say in other contexts, your sin will find you out. Right. And he's like a trapped mouse. Right. Whether he did it or not, there was some dirtbag lust going on in that mind, and that doesn't look good. So that's the problem.
So now you do believe that Roy Moore is guilty in some of this.
I think that he's certainly morally culpable from his own answer in that interview with Sean Hannity, where he said, if I did it, I have permission from the parents. And we know that this is just untoward. And now some people have made the excuse that in Alabama in the 70s and 80s, young women and men got married really young. Right. He was, I think, in the military. He came back and went to law school, and he was there weren't women his age. You know, they were the old ones were married, the ones his age were married. You had to go to younger ones. But there also is no allegation that any of this happened after he got married. Again, there's no allegation of any sexual intercourse at all. So there are if we're going to unpack all the allegations with all these men, unlike Chris Matthews this week, we are going to continue to have a moral high ground, and we should continue being, I'm going to say it, judgmental. There's a time for judgmentalism, but also there are issues of degree with all of this. Now, 14 years old is off limits.
Right.
That's an issue, but there are some concerns about that particular allegation. But I think in a more honorable age, in a less polarized age, this man would have stepped down a long time ago. But Reverend Harris, with all these allegations and all these men who have done the wrong thing by women under them, what we will see as well, in addition to having to be rich to be in politics, is you really will have to be a choir boy or choir girl going forward with these standards that we're now imposing. And again, Roy Moore's the worst example because he was more egregious.
Now, let me ask you this, because we got to get the show closing here, and I got to get to my parents' house for breakfast because my mama made breakfast this morning.
You need those biscuits and gravy, preacher. Mama Vines made breakfast. I better get home because I'll get in big trouble. Last night I asked her to make breakfast, and she decided. She didn't have to. She decided to get up this morning and make breakfast. So I need to be there. But let me ask you this as we're going into the closing of our show. Does this at all concern you, Amos? You're in D.C., you're on the ground, you're seeing what's going on there and everything that's happening and everything that's breaking out. Does this at all concern you? And I get concerned about this as well. I'm a public figure. I have built a following and continue to build a following. My concern is even being raised in my own history where there were times potentially where maybe there's something I said or did that was to me cool, but to another woman who may use it later. And obviously this is a big concern to anybody in public profile, that anybody can come 20 years later, 30 years later, say that he said this, or he did this, or he groped me, or he did this. Where does the line get drawn as to where these allegations are true or how true they are? Where's the line, Amos, upon sexual harassment or groping or doing these things? Because, we're in a society where, these men, I don't think all of these men are particularly, doing these things the way that they're being reported. Where does the line get drawn? Because I was talking to my dad about this. He's a pastor here in San Diego, pastor of the New Season Church. And the biggest concern is being on the public profile, pastors or community leaders or civil rights leaders like me or anybody on the national platform or on the platform can be allegations can come forth about anybody. How do we as 40
men,
years later, I mean, my word, you're not even 40. You're nowhere near 40.
No.
And,
you got shoes older than me. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I sure do. And where the line is, we're drawing it. And that's what law and policy and politics and demonstration of the Women's March, that's where Reverend Sharpton comes in when he gets up here and starts talking about policy. This is actually going to have to be policy that we haven't developed yet. Right. All we have is an age of consent. But now we're going to need to go a little further. And that's what I love about our American way of government. We're going to have these radio conversations. And Chris Matthews' interview with that New York Times reporter was the most brilliant of the week, where they really worked through. They were all progressive people, but they were very realistic at the same time.
Right.
And they asked the question you asked. And that's the purpose of this debate. Right. This is going to be very healthy, but I'm going to close on this, Reverend. The real issue is that these women had to wait. Look, I have said this on your show. There is a law school in Denver that has a woman who brought charges and found that women are paid generally $20,000 less on that law faculty. And additional women have joined the government's lawsuit against that school. But what we do in the moment when people raise these allegations is that we act like they're crazy. We take away their job. We demonize them. We remarginalize. We've got to stop doing that. That's when people step out in the moment, like I have done against Campbell University, and they know that they're on the hook, and they're on a big old hook. It's coming out like Denver Law School. And we need to stop being punks about this and take our pulpit phone and call in our markers in the name of justice and righteousness and force these organizations for these individuals coming in the moment. Who would come and bring such allegations publicly when they have a job and a career ahead of them, like the women at Denver have done?
Yep.
So we won't go to that. I'm going to call it the National Organization for Women, the American Bar Association, the ACLU, all these good liberal groups. Go out to Denver Law. It's not me saying that they pay women less, which is a form of harassment. It's the government that's suing them.
Right.
The EEOC is suing us. But, we can't talk about that because it's in litigation. Well, why not? No wonder women have to wait 40 years, and then everybody calls them a delusional lie.
Right. And let me say this.
We're all culpable.
Right.
We are all culpable.
Right. And let me say this in the closing of the show, that not all of these allegations I believe are true. And let me say it in this light. That we've got to be careful that this is a plan of suppression, as my dad would say, and I've talked with many who are concerned about this. This is a plan to take the masculinity out of society. Watch this now, because this is all in the Bible. It talks about the closing as we get to the ending times. The chip is coming. All these things, taking the masculinity out of men.
Oh, yeah.
We've got to be careful that we are being demasculated in our society by all of these allegations come forward. It's an attempt to try to demasculinize the men. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying that real rape is not happening. I'm not saying that these allegations, some of them are true. But I'm saying that some of them are false, and a lot of this is an agenda. And those of us in the public profile have to walk an even thinner line, because we never know how someone could come back or try to turn this around, come back at, say, Reverend Shane did something, groped somebody, or did this. I mean, this is egregious that we're seeing this kind of effect, that anything you do can be held against you, even if you did not intend it to be. And quick question, in closing, do you think Al Franken should resign?
Let me first back you up in that rejection of a Jezebel spirit, because that's what some of this is.
Yeah.
Now, Al Franken, this is a pitiful case, because here's a man who, I mean, I can see why the woman got scared.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, he needs to do what his conscience tells him to do. But I'm going to tell you this. If everybody who crossed one line 15 years ago is going to be out of power, we're going to have to open the books on the women, too. Mm-hmm. Because there's a whole lot of activity going on, and for every person who felt harassed, somebody else at Charlie Rose's show moved on up in bed with him.
Yep.
And that was a choice too.
Yep.
So we really do have to, again, look at where these lines are supposed to be.
Yep. Quickly closing, the tax plan. What do you think is happening in the next week with this tax plan? They obviously are pushing it through. Where are we going in the next week with this tax plan?
Well, they got a vote from a Republican woman senator who said that she supported the repeal of the individual mandate in Obamacare. So it looks like it's making some progress and picking up some support. It's another experiment with what somebody called voodoo economics, trickle down, supply side. Will these companies getting these tax breaks bring these jobs back to the USA?
Exactly.
I hope so.
Exactly.
I hope they do.
That is our big concern. You cannot say that if we're giving the power back to the companies, we're going to bring them back. It's the company's choice whether they want to stay here or not. I mean, we've seen companies now going to Mexico, and Trump traveled to visit those companies at the beginning of his presidency. They left to Mexico. These guys are going to do whatever they want to do. You can give them tax breaks all day. They are going to do whatever they want to do. Trickle-down economics never worked, and it never will. You cannot say we're going to trickle it down from the top to the bottom. It's always from the bottom to the top. So, Mr. Trump, get your facts straight on that, because you don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, in closing, Amos, Where's the next week going politically? What are we going to expect? The last one.
Well, we're going into the holiday season. President Trump needs a win. He needs some kind of accomplishment. Otherwise, we'll close out 2017 with nothing. And so we're going to see a full-scale press, some deal-making, glad-handing on this tax bill, and that's really about it, because then it's Christmas. That's it. So we're going to keep an eye on this tax, and also on the more high-minded, very important public policy discussion of what we're going to do about people like Al Franken, and they even got on Congressman Conyers, and we're going to have to make some decisions as a country and a people. These are employment discrimination questions, by the way. It's funny. They'll never bring on a plaintiff side employment discrimination lawyer to address these things on television, because it's going to be like me, where I start indicting all the people who make it hard for people to complain in the moment when memories are fresh, because everybody's afraid of their cheap gig.
Right.
And so we're going to have to look at that, and hopefully my voice will be amplified on this, because these are employment discrimination problems.
Right.
That's all it is. An employment discrimination, sexual harassment is an employment discrimination issue. Gloria Allred does not count. Gloria Allred gets victims of famous people years later.
Right.
That is not an employment discrimination practice.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us are doing this real work for real, day by day, by people you've never heard of, who are enduring horrific loss.
Yep.
So let's pray for that and give thanks that somebody out here is fighting these fights, these brave women and men and black people and Hispanics and others that I represent out here in Washington, Rev.
And let me say this in closing, that President Trump, I think, is jealous of Obama, because President Obama got a lot done in his first year. Unfortunately, the President Trump has not got anything done. He's got no votes through. Thank you all for tuning in. I got the last word now. Thank y'all for tuning in across the country, right here on Reverend Shane Harris's show. Get on up with Shane Harris. Get on up. You can't give up. You've got to get up. And all those who want to send me checks, Christmas time is here. You can write your checks, make your checks and your money orders payable to Shane Harris, P.O. Box 191413, San Diego, California. Uncle, you could even send me a check. P.O. Box.
No, he didn't.
P.O. Box 191413, San Diego, California, 92159. That's the zip code. 92159. Make sure you get the zip code right. 92159. P.O. Box 191413, San Diego, California, 92159. And Bill Brown is over here smiling because he wants to be in that too. So if y'all want to write Bill Brown a check, y'all could write it in Bill, BILL, Brown, Bill Brown. Send it to P.O. Box 191413, San Diego, California. We'll make sure it gets to Bill Brown. You can send us both checks. It's Christmas time. Why not bless us in this season of Thanksgiving and giving? Thank y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in around the country and across our communities. And Amos, you the man. You the man, Amos. So y'all need to keep the conversation going. Follow me on Instagram right now, Twitter right now, at Shane Harris Now. Instagram and Twitter, at Shane Harris Now. Facebook, get on up with Reverend Shane Harris. Get on up with Reverend Shane Harris. Let's keep the conversation going. Lots to look at in this next week, and we cannot afford to be disconnected. Follow Amos Jones on Twitter at
Amos N. Jones.
And y'all need to get connected with KTAV. We're going live on YouTube now. Starting next week, we begin our new YouTube broadcasting. We're going to pump it up big time. Go to Bill Brown on YouTube. Bill Brown, B-I-L-L, space, Brown, B-R-O-W-N. And watch live. From now on, we're live every Friday on YouTube. And this is going to be a major shift in the KTAV broadcasting and the Get On Up with Shane Harris show. We are getting ready to take it to YouTube, and we need everyone to get that link and watch live every Friday. We're going to build up this show on YouTube around the world. You can watch on YouTube real easy. Were you able to do it today, Amos?
Absolutely.
And did it look good?
Pie.
It was clear.
Easy as pumpkin pie.
That's what
clear
we
as
want.
a bell.
See, pumpkin pie.